water line actually would make more sense right here. If I could lower it. See, like, yeah, I'm lowering it, but I'm just doing it ever so gracefully. All right. I really wish that I could mask in areas, because I would so make this area right here just a blanketed, mass of lava, basically. Because this area begs to not have any of this, well, any of the filters or erosions that are currently on it. Of course, that's really hard to do whenever you're. Let's try. Let's try bringing it down a notch. Of course, all the filters are making it go a little sluggish. And then that happens. All right. So the shape of the island, I don't mind this cut here, but if we had more water around it, we can probably see the shape of our terrain a little bit easier. Not terrible, but also not perfect. Roland, if there's a time that you'd like to join me in voice chat sometime to talk or ask questions, feel free to. I'm not opposed to people in the community wanting to take part in something. Actually, let's do that as a base. Add a material. Let's come here. sure this is all the way to the top, and there's fine. Turn on angle in that area. All right, then I'm going to double click or right click to duplicate that, and we'll change the angle to some other side. That way we have two sides to work with. Oh yeah, if I could I'd change how the caldera is right here a bit and how all this flowed out. It's just not coming across the way I would want it to. But whenever masking and stuff comes into play, we should be able to, whenever custom masking comes into play, we should be able to do much better volcano work. See, let's change slope. Actually, let's go back here. Change this to a green. Change that. All right. So this green, if I can go back to my all right, that's the base. And let's darken this up a tad on the red spectrum. There we go. Perfect. All right, so now we've got something that's kind of wonky, but we got a reddish tint, mountain face, all these things. I don't think I want the grass. Let's see, where's that one? Go back to this guy. All right, so this guy doesn't need to come up there. So we'll change it to a height value. Let's change it up to about right there and move that out. And we'll lower this value here so that we can remove any of that grass there. Hopefully. There we go. We'll increase its threshold. All right. There we go. All right. Next, we're going to do another one. Well, I like to look at this one right here as sort of a water layer. So this one's super reflective. It'd be nice if we could have everything fully opacity. And this one, let's add a height distribution. And lower this top one a tad. Actually, let's increase that threshold a bit. All right, so this one, oh, let's see. Sorry, I missed this. Don't you have problems with colors? All right, sorry, I had to take a drink. So every time I create something and change from daylight, it looks quite different. I guess some kind of look dev mode or um, it might be appreciated or might solve itself once textures come into play. No, the lighting is definitely, I think, a driving factor to how the base colors look a little weird. Like it's all about these angles here. I mean, I've noticed that when I change the horizontal sun direction or the sun angle vertical direction, how the textures look to me and the colors of them change wildly. But a lot of that's from trial and error of trying to figure out the colors themselves. Another thing is I think whenever you can apply a texture and actual textures come into play, it will change the game up significantly to look a little bit more correct, especially whenever, let's see, like these colors, we only have the metalness value or the roughness value. There's no other option yet. So I also think whenever we can change the color based off gradients, gradient colors are amazing in World Creator 2, and I pretty much almost exclusively use gradient colors. If I'm trying to make something within World Creator 2. So once gradients can come in here, I think things are going to look a whole lot better even in and of itself. But the fact that textures come with, they'll have their own height maps, normal maps, roughness maps, specular maps, those types of things we're going to be able to control. And I think are going to look a whole lot better. So what was I doing? Yes, FX. Let's try and not that one. I want it to be low. Low, but see. See, by changing it to this, we can see anything that we want. So distortion, no, not distortion. Yeah, there we go, after the fact. Hey, Stefan is here. He can answer all your questions, Roland. Yeah, but not for long. He's like, oh, I gotta go. Cyberpunk's calling me. All right, I think somewhere around there is fine. Let's take this height and blend out the bottom just a tad. There we go. All right, so yeah, with the new update, you can reset values by clicking their labels or global labels to reset all under that label. That's nice. And you can have 2 new filters, Voronoi and Smooth Ridges. Can't wait for the smooth ridges. I could have used that today. And model file browser. All right, so, and then the height for this guy, I'm again just going to reduce it down a tad because I don't want height in here. Ruh-roh. All right. Go. This one, select it. Its slope, I don't think it's going to have much. The slope. Color this. All right, let's see. We will have to fix a smaller issue. We'll upload as soon as it is done. Also going to add a quick height map import option to the custom base shape tool. I wish I would have had that today. Just a very quick one as we want to test out imported height maps with the new filters and the new custom base shape tool. Well, you can bank that the second that comes to play, the imported height maps are going to be right here on the stream. And we are most certainly going to cover real world height maps right here. And Stefan's probably like, oh, I want it, please make me look good. I don't want it to be bad. Don't worry. We'll take care. We'll take care of it. Actually, that's another. So flow, height. Drawing a blank. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere a bit better. We're working on it, gentlemen. We're working on it. Maybe I should save this. So test terrain underscore 06 island. So we're going to come back to the island for sure. Oh, I missed some stuff. Single points. Gotcha. You guys are communicating. My colleague just created an alien EGG terrain. Please share. All right. The last thing I want to do, maybe the last thing, we'll see. Let's add another material. This time, I'm going to add a red height all the way up, but we're going to make sure this height is somewhere just in this range. Cavity is convex. Oh yeah, and let's add not distortion. Let's see. I didn't mean to do that. I would undo, but I like doing it all manually, so why not? Okay, back to this. We're gonna go to what was it again? Cavity, convex, depth size. Actually, I like the fact that it's this. See if distortion. Yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted the height below cavity, so we can distort just the edge of the framework. But I don't want it to distort too much. Something like that. All right, so then we can, let's see, how did I want to do it? Sort of something like that. I wanted to be able to capture some red in the top part of this because there's actually a mountain, there's actually a cliffside in the step size. We can lower this. There's actually a mountain peak in the Caribbean that's kind of got like this red orange cap. That's something similar to like that. Okay. Can I show this, Stefan? Cool with me showing it? That is wild. That's what kind of planet is that? Let's see. I want to try and get. interesting. Let's see. So this is the picture that you created. This looks like a terrain with like shells, like it's a turtle back shell landscape. If I feel like if I step on this landscape, it's gonna be real squishy. That's wild looking. All right, let's save this. So it's not bad, but we could definitely improve on this. We're gonna come back to island similar to this whenever masking a heat map or masking an area for custom base shaping is in effect, because there's a whole lot of things that we can do with shaping the terrain a certain way based on masking. So we've been going for almost 2 hours now, and I think I'm going to call it quits right there for now. We can pick back up on this terrain later on. I've saved all these, so if we need to come back and forth, we can definitely do that. I'll make sure this terrain is available for all of you World Creator 3 users that want to mess with it yourself, as well as the terrain in the very beginning of the stream that I talked about. So I'll leave the floor open for a little bit longer in case anyone has any questions. This has been a very interesting stream. We've done a whole lot today, been able to move around, create a lot of these striations, talked about a whole lot of stuff. So I hope that I hope this was really fun for you guys, because it was certainly fun for me to keep doing these sort of things. One last announcement. Next week's stream will not be on Wednesday. It'll probably be on Tuesday. So banking on it to be Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. I might do another one Monday. It just depends. I'm not going to be around on Wednesday, which is why I'd have to schedule this for a day earlier on in the week. So without further ado, I don't see any other questions coming through the chat. So we will call that a day. And thank you guys for watching. Oh, let's see. Future feature request. I would love to be able to use the software to create rocks at some point. Since all of this is applied to a flat surface to create a landscape, would it also be possible to apply all of this technology to a sphere? I'm assuming you could leverage your seamless tiling tech plus polar mapping to achieve an interesting result. That is a great question, and I can see that being implemented at some point if the coding is done right, to have all this stuff go across a certain shape. But I don't think it's going to be their plan right at the moment, because they want to get everything that you could possibly do from a height map standpoint into the terrain first. Let's see, I guess cliffs would at least be a possibility by selecting a terrain part and extracting it as a mesh. Yes. Yeah, I know they've been fluctuating with the idea. There's going to be at some point an agreement on doing vector displacement. So being able to, I think it's going to come down to one of those things where, say, in this case, in this terrain, I'm happy with this shape. So I have to commit to converting this height map based, mesh terrain to a vector based mesh. So actually converting this height map to a mesh within the program. Once that happens, then you can further shape the terrain any way you want. But again, I don't know how much of that is involved on the coders and on the developers end in order to implement and make it seamless. Because I would love to be able to do that sort of thing, guys, and come back to the height map side, like add more terrains. I don't know if it's like a one-way street. Like once you go the vector route, can you add more, terrain tiles? Because we're going to be able to add more, terrain chunks eventually on the outside of this mesh or outside of this terrain. So being able to go back and work on an individual tile that's not a vector, then I don't know. Maybe there's a layer system. Maybe we say, hey, we want to select, use the custom base shape stuff. I want to select this mountaintop only. Okay, so this would be actually kind of nice. So we select this mountaintop, and we know now that we're able to save, not now, but we're going to be able to, right click or save this selection in a list of selections, like in a layer-based system. If we want to then say, hey, I want to convert a copy of this to a vector-based mesh to use as an, object in World Creator 3, then I could probably do so. And then from that object say, hey, I want to be able to apply filters and textures to this, this specific object, albeit that everything outside of this object is going to be not worked on while the object is being worked on, if that makes sense. It'd be really cool if we can do both things, go back and forth between different things. But I have no idea, again, how they plan on doing that. Perfect. Anything else, guys? Be able to make planets. Yes, making planets would be really awesome to be able to shape a planet in here. Maybe that's something that can be used up front. Say, hey, I want to start like a preset. There's going to be a preset window at the very beginning of a new project. So if you want to say, hey, I want to make a planet, you automatically start out with the sphere, perhaps, and then from different landscape designs that you have out, other projects within World Creator, you can say, hey, I want to import this particular project as a mask in this area of this planet or something. I don't know. There's a lot of masking, a lot of alpha maps, a lot of things that you can probably, that's going to happen for a flat terrain like this, that I would have no doubt that could be implemented for a planet or sphere or shape of some kind. Because, ZBrush and Blender and Maya, they all do the same thing with sculpting features. So I just don't have the right answer to know exactly how easy that's going to be on the developers or not. So we'll see. We'll see what they come up with. They're bright individuals. All right. We've been going on for almost 2 hours now. I'm going to call it a day. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see y'all next week.